right, there we go. Oh yes, we're in the 2025 fully electric Dodge Charger Daytona. This has a Scat Pack with 670 horsepower. Is this EV muscle car worth the asking price? Before this is all said and done, we will head back home, get in the office, compare this to other EVs and other cars I've driven so far in 2025, and see where it falls on the list and if I consider this a good buy or not. So let's go ahead and get outside the vehicle, and this is where you can say the fun begins. It does make noise. It kind of sounds like a loud fan just kind of rumbling in the background, because these synthetic noises are actually produced outside of the car. We have a subwoofer underneath the rear of the vehicle, actually 2 speakers to my understanding, that have their own separate amp. And while it's just sitting here, it's making noises. Yes, an EV making noises. Now, that's no stranger to me because I drove the Ioniq 5N, but by default, the Ioniq 5N is silent, all right? And then you can put it in mode and then roll through 8-speed and things like that and make it sound like an Elantra N. This tries to blend noises from Dodge's past, all right? So it's kind of like the rumbling of like a big Hemi at idle. All right, so hopefully you guys can hear that. Let's get a little bit closer. Oh man, I'll tell you what, we'll play with it a little bit today. I've been doing my driving 99% in stealth mode, and should have Dodge just called this a stealth? Under the hood, we actually have a frunk. Very few EVs, seemingly still to this day in my testing, come with frunks, so that's cool. And maybe a couple cubic feet of cargo space there, enough for a backpack, I would say. So let's go ahead and close the hood. Oh my gosh, that sounded fantastic. Luxury quality, absolutely. So let's talk about the design here on the outside of this beautiful Charger Daytona. Guys, this is one of the coolest cars I think I've laid my eyes on so far in 2025, maybe even of all time. Like, the aesthetic vibes here are just unbelievably beautiful and nostalgic. All right, it does look like a Mopar product, absolutely. I love the little Fratsonic logo up front. This, of course, has the Scat Pack, and the Scat Pack gives us 670 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. We'll do 0 to 60 here in just a little bit, but it's claimed to do it in 3.3 seconds. Not the fastest EV I've driven, but yeah, when you're cracking 4 seconds, it's fast as hell. This comes standard with a 100 kilowatt hour battery. About 94 kilowatts are usable. So EPA, here's the thing guys, we have a big battery. EPA on all season tires is 245 miles, but I have summer tires on here and it's rated at 216 miles. I'll tell you what my range is and it's going to surprise you, and I still can't believe it either. So wait till we start driving. I'll tell you what my estimated ranges are for city and for highway driving. All right, now if you get to the RT, which is doesn't have the performance tires and brakes, for example, it's not quite as fast. I'll still crack 5 seconds 0 to 60. The RT, that's estimated at 308 miles of range. So tires make a huge difference here in terms of range. But we have standard 20-inch wheels here on this Scat Pack. It also has a track package which has adaptive dampers, and then it also gives us massive brakes in the rear. So we have 4 piston brakes in the rear. 6 piston brakes, I believe, are standard throughout the lineup. We have staggered with tires. I looked up front. We have 305s up front. Those are 325s in the back. Now, with the horsepower, the motors are split evenly. So we have 335 up front horsepower and 335 in the rear. So the staggered tires aren't really there for performance. Maybe they're there for looks. And I will say, and it's kind of hard to see on camera late at night, or should I say like 4:04 in the morning, you can see the road rash coming off of these tires, gumming up. I don't know if I've touched this. Oh, okay, I can scrape it off. Okay, so that's good. It's not like the glossy black has been ruined, but it gets dirty. Rear tail lights, oh, so good. I'll go ahead and play the turn indicators as well. This car is beautiful. It is huge. It's wide as hell. It's almost wide enough to get the 3 amber lights up front that you see on things like a TRD Pro pickup truck, Tundra, or like a F-150 Raptor. So it's wide as heck. And look, it's taken up the entire parking stall here. So it's about as long as a 3-row crossover. But when you're driving it, it doesn't feel necessarily that big. And when you're looking at it, yes, it looks like a big car, but it's so proportionate and the lines are so good on it that it doesn't look ridiculous. All right, so it's ridiculously big, but it doesn't look ridiculous. Oh, and I forgot to talk about this R wing up front. This is one of my favorite things about the vehicle. I mean, guys, that is, I praise the designers over at Dodge for making this integrated wing into the bumper like a reality. I think it's just one of the coolest things. Just because this is fully EV, and we'll talk about this as we drive, just because it's fully EV does not mean it's going to stay fully EV. There are going to be variants of this with the inline 6. And now we're hearing that the Hemi's coming back. Let's go ahead and open up the rear. And yes, it is a hatchback, guys. This is a coupe hatch. It's technically a 3-door. Get a load of this. I love that. That is so ridiculously cool. All right, let's get on the back side here. Pretty shallow, but it's long. So we have, I think, 22 cubic feet of cargo space, somewhere around there. Here's another subwoofer for your sound system, a fix-a-flat kit, no spare tire in here. Yes, we have a couple lights back here, but I don't have any accessory power, which is quite surprising because in an EV, you would think you'd have accessory power out the back. I'm looking up top, I don't see a button to close the hatch, so you have to do it manually, I think. And then it soft closes on its own, which is awesome. Oh man, this thing has so much road presence. Guys, if you want a cool car, if you want that stature, this has it in spades. Now, this car, even though it's a coupe, it has so much leg room in the back. I've been taking my kids to school multiple times, picking them up, dropping them off. That never happens in a coupe. This is the first coupe this has happened where it's easy-ish to take the kids to and from school. They still struggle with the door, and I'll explain why. Seat's super comfortable. Look at all this leg room. Now this seat is pretty far forward here, but if I pull this back to where I sit, it's going to be quite interesting. Now, on the door over there, you see this button. That's the electronic latch to open and close, or should I say to open the door. And the kids in the back, they can't reach that button on this door. So that's the only con. I wish there was an easier latch for them to open that door in the back, because then I have to reach all the way across the front. All right, so that's the only snag I've been having. Big windows back here, kids like that. Big glass roof, it's optional, of course. These seats have, well, they're a little bit perforated, which is nice, as well as suede. Do have a cup holder back here. We have heated outboard seats in a coupe. What? That is wild. As well as USBs, 2 USBs, and vents. Guys, this is better equipped than most cars, actually 99% of cars that have 4 doors. Look at this space back here with my feet. All right, this seat is set up for me at 6'1". I have tons of space back here. I'm saying, Kirk, what about your headroom? You know, my head's touching a little bit, but I could just slump down because I have all this leg room and I'm fine. You pull this tab, and we're ready to get out of the back. So it's as long as a 3-row crossover. You have as much space as a mid-size 2-row crossover in the back. Now you can see this cool ambient lighting. We'll play with that here in a little bit. All right, let's see if we can trigger this proximity animation if we get close to the car here. Oh, there we go. Heyo. That's pretty rad. Let's check out the animation from the front. Oh, here we go. It's going. There we go. Also, this is something I've been struggling with to lock the car. You would think it would be this button and unlock it, but I haven't been able to get that to work. So I've been unlocking the car with the key fob. It should go ahead and pull there. All right, let's get on the inside. And you have, before it turned purple, the welcome light was yellow. So anyways, sitting on the inside. Let's go ahead and start it up again. It's like a thunder strike. And then on the head-up display, you didn't see it, but the Fratsonic logo, that little triangle, almost hazard, it looks like a hazard warning, was there. All right, so let's talk about the screens just a little bit. We can talk more about them when we start driving. All right, so if you guys are wanting, first and foremost, how to turn off the Fratsonic chambered exhaust, you have to go to Vehicle. It's not under Electric Vehicle, it's under Settings, and then you'll go to Stealth mode. All right, the chambered exhaust doesn't sound terrible, but they mixed in this like whom noise every like 3 seconds that makes it really annoying for me. I don't know if the mics will pick it up, so I prefer to be in stealth, but we'll have the exhaust on here for at least a part of our drive today. All right, so going home, I like how you have your battery level here, your charging times, which is really convenient. Then I just kind of leave this up. And I like this screen because it tells me what my current miles per kilowatt hour is. I've been getting 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour in town, which is good for about 300 miles of in-town range. All right, so I love this MID behind the steering wheel as well. All right, and I like having this screen up because it tells me my energy economy. All right, so there are some other things in here as well that performance guys are gonna like. So if we go to like race options, launch control, drift and donut mode, this mode exclusive to, I believe, the Scat Pack. Also race prep here, which is gonna get the battery to the right temperature. Remember the Ioniq 5N having that. Now down below, we also have this button, which is a launch mode. So we'll use that launch mode button, this one right here, to go ahead and do our 0 to 60s. All right, so we have a great head-up display as well. Fantastic head-up display, super bright. There it goes, very bright. It gets the job done, and it's big font too. The ambient lighting, before we get going, ambient lighting. So we go to Vehicle Apps. I'm gonna star attitude adjustment because that's pretty much the ambient lighting. So you can make it a favorite. I have purple on here. You can fully turn off these ambient lights, but you're paying for them. They're optional. So you can just put them dim. You can make them as bright as you want. And they're only in the front seats. They don't go to the back seats. But I think these are pretty cool. One of the best, I would say, ambient lightings that I've seen in any car. It's not over the top, in my opinion. It gets plenty bright, and selecting the colors is super easy. A lot of cars, they make it so complex and convoluted to select colors. All right, so we're just let's go back to purple. Purple's fun. It's a little bit relaxing, right? We also have dedicated buttons here on the side for heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. That is great. The ventilated seats in here are fantastic. So let's go and start driving the new Daytona EV. All right, we also have drive modes right here on the steering wheel, and if you get to track mode, it's really loud in here, really loud. So we're not going to be in track mode, I don't think, for our launch. We'll maybe just be in sport mode. Now, what's interesting, when you do go to track mode, the head-up display, it kind of stays in track mode. I don't know for how long, but it still gives me some of the metrics, like G-forces, for example, that track mode has. All right, so driving this vehicle, for the most part, has been a pleasure this week. Gosh, it's so weird hearing a V8 but not feeling a V8. I know they're trying. But what I like about this vehicle, some people, I've been reading that they don't think it has one pedal driving. It does have one pedal driving. You have 3 different regen, and then you just have to turn off the creep function on the screen. So you also have this performance pages. You have timers. We have a 0 to 60 timer here, which I don't see this being on the page. Doesn't mean that you wouldn't be able to, like, you have a quarter mile, 1/8 mile sort of stuff. Other gauges here, which is cool. I would never ever use this page. And then if you go to race options, a different page, you can do like the launch control, which maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to do launch control here. Activate it, which guys, this button down here would do it as well. It'd just be the shortcut. So we'll activate launch control. Paddle shifting is disabled. I think it's already on. So man, it's really loud in here. So I'm gonna turn off the hazards and apply brake pressure. Continue to hold brake and punch and hold throttle and go. Yep. Feels like an EV. There's 60. I mean, that happened really quick. 3.59, 0 to 60. Said I had a little bit of slope that it was working against me there, but this vehicle is supposed to be able to do 3.3, so I'm about 0.3 off. I had a little bit of slippage. I'll do a U-turn here. We'll try one more 0 to 60. I mean, it didn't launch that terribly, like aggressively. I will say that it did launch a bit. I wouldn't say docile, but it wasn't violent. It was not a violent launch. All right, after the first, I don't know, few feet, then it felt like it gave me the full power. Activate launch control, torque brake, and go. All right, there we go. 3.57. So it's roughly a 3.5 second 0 to 60. You can probably get faster on maybe a prepped surface or something, but I would say it's 3.5 seconds 0 to 60. Maybe more closer to 3.6 0 to 60. All right, so yes, it feels like an EV just with fake sounds, but I don't like the fake sounds. I'll be brutally honest. I'll turn those off here in a little bit. I like the handling in this vehicle a lot. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it feels like it's way lighter than it is, and it doesn't make any sense. This vehicle's almost 6,000 pounds. And yes, maybe it's because I have 300 width tires on the front and the rear, so I have tons of grip. But this vehicle's about 50% more rigid than the outgoing Challenger. So it honestly is one of the best handling EVs I've driven. So is it as nimble as the Ioniq 5N? No. This feels like a bigger vehicle than that, but I mean, it handles way better than it ought to. So Dodge has done some sort of magic to hide its 6,000 pounds, and they deserve a round of applause for that, because yes, the steering is a bit artificial feeling. It's nothing like hydraulic steering, but guys, it communicates well and it feels like I have endless amounts of grip. All right, again, one pedal driving. It's not super strong. Sometimes I do need to use my brakes as well. And then at the last couple mile an hour, it just boop, there it goes. All right, let's get out of here. We're going to do the rest of this review, if I can figure it out, because it takes me forever. So there's so many different pages and menus. We're going to be in stealth drive. Oh, this is what an EV should be like. All right, it is just so quiet in this car. Even though it's a coupe, frameless windows, very quiet, very smooth, and I'm at peace. That overpowering exhaust note there, and I'm gonna get out of sport mode. But what happens, here's the thing. There's no, 8-speed auto to work through compared to the old Hemis, or should I say what the Hemis are connected to. So you just pedal down and you're gone, It's just so much power, and it's smooth. And you get a little bit of electric motor whine. So let's talk about the lights. They're impressive from the outside. Yeah, I think they're fine. I think the low beams, I could angle them up a little bit more. They have a soft fade at the end of their range, but they're not going very far. So, we'll put the brights back on. There's an oncoming traffic, so anyways, the brights look pretty impressive. So don't think that this car, I mean, that's not going to be a deal breaker for anyone, the lighting performance. I think it's good. It's just not going to be like world class. All right, I will say this is one of the biggest annoyances with the car. It has nothing to do with it being an EV. The mirror, guys, this mirror and this plastic holster on this mirror, it comes almost out of my vision. It comes almost all the way down to the dash. And so my visibility out the front, I have a massive blind spot at my like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock position because of this huge chunky piece sitting on the windshield holding the mirror. Now, they probably did that because this being a coupe with limited rear visibility out the window, they had to like cinch the mirror all the way down so you could actually see out the back window. But as a result, it's compromised some of my front windshield visibility. Speaking of visibility, it's pretty good in here. I do, of course, have blind spots in those, what would they be in this car? C-pillars. Right behind the rear seats, there's quite a big blind spot back there. But you have blind spot monitor, it's not the biggest thing. This also has 360 camera, which I don't think there's a button for it, but if I go back to here, I think I made a shortcut to it. So there's your 360 camera. You can see the school bus next to us. You can change your camera views, all that cool stuff. And then I'm just sitting here, foot off the pedals, no sound. It is great. So let's get out of that. Little Cybertruck action there. We should race it. It might beat us. So maybe let's not race it. All right, let me get out of this screen because I prefer to have my efficiency up. And even though, I should probably get out of sport mode too. I prefer auto mode because the pedal's not as sensitive. The pedal's really sensitive in sport mode, which some people might like. It's just not my cup of tea. I can still get plenty of performance in auto mode with a more docile pedal. All right, another big con. Ooh, we're gonna be able to take this at some sort of speed, and then I'll get to that con next. Okay, regen braking, throw it into the turn. It just handles so well. It makes no sense. There's a lot of magic built in this car. Anyways, the other thing that really I still can't wrap my head around with these summer tires. Okay, remember the range goes down to like 216 miles of EPA range? Well, my 3.2 miles per kilowatt hours, per kilowatt hour in town, that gets me to 300 miles of range. Now, it's down a little bit since I've been flogging this thing this morning and idling it with the AC. It's down to 2.9, but you can get up to 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour even with these massive summer tires. But when I took it on the interstate, I could not believe the efficiency I was getting. So I kind of go to vehicle here. I think it's electric vehicle. Yeah, and this will tell me my current. So I set it at 75 miles an hour, and it was consistently telling me 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour at 75 miles an hour. Guys, that's a 150 mile range. But like, if you have to charge this thing, then ironic, right? It's called a charger. If you have to charge this thing and you're not going to be going 0 to 100% battery, you're probably going to like 10 to 80 or 10 to 90, which by the way, this has about 180 kilowatt charging speed, DC fast charging. So anyways, it's going to take about 30 minutes to charge at 10 to 80%, something like that. With this modest, it's not bad charging speed, but it's not great. And especially since the efficiency is so bad, this is a terrible road trip car. This is just a city EV, more so than probably any EV I've tested, or yeah, maybe. I mean, a Chevy Bolt would come close to being a terrible highway EV as well because it charges so slow. Anyways, back to this car. Guys, 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour at 75 miles an hour. That is terrible. 150 miles of range. Realistically, it's 100 miles of range. And so you'd be charging every 100 miles and you'd be stopping 30 minutes at a time. Some people might not mind doing that, but that sounds like an unnecessary problem. So if you want this Charger, okay, maybe get the RT. You'll get way better efficiency, or just put summer tires on, or put all season tires on here, but then you're not going to have the grip. I think the RT is probably the way to go, honestly, over this model. Like 0 to 60 in 4.7. I mean, who needs to really go fast in that? And to me, this vehicle is more about the looks. But here's the thing. You could just hold out for the inline 6 or the Hemis and you won't have to worry about range. Okay, so what are my thoughts about this vehicle? Well, I wish it came in a rear wheel drive. You know, I wish it was rear wheel drive bias instead of being 50-50 split. Like, guys, the SQ6, the Audi SQ6 that costs very similar to this, that has like 350 horsepower or 60 horsepower just going to the rear wheels. This one has 335 horsepower going to both the front and the rear. Okay, I understand that, but like, this should have a rear wheel drive bias on it. I think most of you guys would agree with that. So with that being said, it's a flawed vehicle. This exhaust is a joke to me. I left it on for the review so you guys could hear it, but if I own this car, I'd be driving in stealth mode all the time. I think this vehicle's beautiful. I think I like 95% of it. It's just the efficiency is so poor on the highway and it costs so damn much. So let's go ahead into the office and see if there are any good deals, and then we're going to put this on the spreadsheet of the cars I've driven this year and compare it. Where will it fall? Is it a good buy? Let's find out. Well, it looks like the market's speaking just in my area. Guys, look at this. 10,000, almost 11th. Actually, if you look at the MSRP, now the car that I drove in the review was about an $85,000 MSRP. Look, we're 22 grand off. Now, this car, in my opinion, is a lease only sort of vehicle. EVs, I mean, look, its value is already plummeted. You know, they can't sell these at sticker price or anywhere close. All right, so what do you think is going to happen if you purchased it and owned it? Well, its value is going to also fall. All right, lease it. And then at the end of the lease, you can decide if you want to own it or not. Most of you will probably get rid of it. I like the orange the best. Okay, so if I go to color here, we're going to click orange. I'm literally losing my mind over this orange model. This car just looks incredible. They got the design down just perfect, in my opinion. Big fan of this. But look, guys, 15 grand price drop here. And this is for the RT. The RT, in my opinion, is the better buy. It's still going to be faster than just about anything on the road, but you're not going to have completely flawed range. Your range is going to be decent. You know, so you don't have the massive tires. You don't have the summer tires on here. This would be the way to go. Yes, it's got what, 400, close to 500 horsepower. Guys, that's enough. That's enough. You're getting this car for the looks, in my opinion. Now, if an inline 6 comes out or a V8 comes out, then it's going to be a harder sell for the electric model. Those vehicles, it'll be hard for them to beat this in terms of acceleration. They're probably just going to be rear-wheel drive, but they're also going to have much more allure and desire around them, especially the V8s. So let's go to the spreadsheet. Is this a solid buy? And the answer is no. It's not just like, hey, just go buy one. It's like, it's a solid lease car on a fire sale. Do I like it? Ironically, I drove an Audi SQ6 e-tron, not the same category, but it's an EV that also costs over $80,000 like this vehicle. Is it better than that? Catch me on the right mood, all right? You know, this is a little bit easier to live with because it's more compact. It's easier to park. It's easier to get in and out of traffic. This just looks so amazing. So it really just depends on what you guys want. I'm just going to put it, let's just put it above. Let's put it at the top here. We're going to put it fire sale only. You know, if a V8 comes along or an inline 6 and I'm just in love with it, I'll probably move it up to a good buy or an excellent buy. I really like the car. I didn't even talk about ride quality. The ride quality is really impressive in it. Sometimes with EVs, it can be a bit juddery. No, the ride quality is fantastic. The quietness is really, really good too. It's just, it has terrible EV range, terrible efficiency, and it's just really freaking expensive. That's why there's 20 grand discounts going on. And get the RT. The RT is probably the better buy here.
All right. And lease only. So there's just, it's so compromised outside of the looks department and the straight line performance. I mean, here's the thing. The price is what kills it, but also the lack of an engine. If this thing, like I said, had Hemi in here, it would shoot it up to B or A, maybe even S, depending on what it's priced at. If I had a choice between this or the Ioniq 5N, well, I like the Ioniq 5N in every way over this Dodge, except for the looks. Okay, the Dodge takes the cake there, but the Ioniq 5N is one of the best cars I've ever driven, despite it being an EV. And in fact, because it's an EV, it really leans hard into the EV. And it's one pedal driving, its performance, its handling. It's just so well-rounded. Where and yes, the efficiency is not great on it, but it's going to charge faster. So, anyways, the Ioniq 5N is a much better vehicle. And guess what? You know, they sticker for less than the Daytona. So it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on this vehicle. It can be a really solid buy if you get a crazy lease deal on one. But outside of that, I would say just wait for the internal combustion engine variants to see how good they are. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and peace.